Okay, we have like 10 seconds of delay. So can I check the audio? Can I realize the action of checking the audio? And we see if we are working. Can we are we live? Are we? Okay, yeah, we're fine. We're fine. Hello everyone. Let me no wait. I didn't say hello yet. It was a lie. No for real. Hello everybody. Welcome. Welcome on another beautiful night to our place, to our beautiful zone of thinking, to our beautiful space of using the mind, to our beautiful mm, house of pondering, to our farm. Yes, we're once again back. We are once again here, having the necessity almost of thinking and finding ourselves troubled with some topics that might as well be interesting to analyze. That was what I forgot to do. To have the topic list. I am incredible. I knew I was forgetting out something. Let me. Okay. It was unintentional. Yeah. Give me a second because I have to copy then what we're going to talk about from here. I have to copy it into chat. And oh my god. I didn't notice that it happened like that, my man. No, this is so sad. Well, I mean, it was bound to happen at some point that I was going to forget about any of the particular things that make up this whole stream. So give me a second because I have to copy this. Uh, wait, having clear missions. Mhm. Slash. Uh-huh. The second topic is those alone. Uh-huh. I didn't notice that I forgot about it. And I mean, I didn't try to forget, but rather I think I didn't try to remember that I had to do it. Let's say like that. So yeah, interesting to see how I feel that's something that I do almost every single time for the sake of keeping track um, the different things that we talk about here. Anyways, so okay, there is only one more that I need to copy. Give me a second. It is this one, and paradoxically, it's the longest one. But well, at the very least, we are very happy because we finally have a chat. Mm, and we have also the possibility of finally seeing what is said by others. We do not have to imagine or whatever else to really observe what was being said. Um, it's not stopping. Okay, there we have it. Nice. Finally, the topic list itself. Pin. Yeah. Um, manually and hide basically. Okay, there it is. There we have it. Man, I don't know how I forget about it. No, I didn't try to forget. I think as I said, I think it happened that somehow I forgot because I didn't pay attention or didn't pay enough attention to it. I don't know. Anyways, let me try to get this working. Hello, phone. Okay, there we have it. We have chat. We have everything. Yes. So now for real, let me also. My fucking. Oh man, this is so hard sometimes when technology decides not to work like it should be. This is so hard. But anyways, there we are. I think. So now, let me transition. I shouldn't be forgetting about anything now. Aside from that tiny error, I should. well, I think Krita, are we capturing? Do we have the possibility of working Krita? Do you want to work? What's our it? Krita? Krita? Hmm. Yeah, Krita is crashing, it seems. It seems we have one of those crashing Krita days. Yeah, yeah. Let me see. If I transition, will it not crash anymore? Okay, there it is. So, well, basically, we have this list of things that we're going to talk about. This one. This is all the different events that we're going to touch on. As always, we have on the right side the proper list itself of what I properly have the possibility of talking about and what we can spend our time later on talking as I tend to know more on one side, the right side. All of these things, all of them. No real problem trying to talk about them here. But on the other side, on the right side, we have this. We have the different concepts that we are going to explore throughout the rest of the stream, I will say. As it seems that I sometimes, I don't think I have a hard time coming up with questions, but rather finding things that I would like to discuss in a more open manner. Because, I don't know, it is interesting. Let's keep it at that. It is interesting to notice that sometimes the different ideas that we have are even filtered by the places in which we otherwise would have completely believed we were safe in. Not to mean or to try to indicate that we are not safe here, but rather the opposite. That surprisingly, we still do not possess, or at least even I myself do not possess the complete capacity of doing something like that. But anyways, here we have these three topics to, let's say, make an entrance, a proper tiny short entrance into the whole stream. We have then after finishing that one, we go and we properly start talking about what we know. Today we're going to probably stream for something like 3 hours. What the fuck? No, not 3 hours. I wish I could have time like that on the weekends. Sorry, on the weekdays, but it might happen more on the weekends. So now, yeah, let us properly start with the first one of them. Can we avoid the search of a higher entity? And yeah, mm, I, at the very least, I am glad that all of these things are here because even if I struggle and even if I see or notice that in some cases I do not really have, I don't think it simply is related to a possibility or not, but more like, mm, what will it be? Something like, yeah, the incapacity of really deciding on any particular questions that I will want to explore because it also happens that one must be aware about how much of an important thing it is to try and interact as much as we can with the things that we know we can properly interact with in a sense of doing that which will be useful for everybody. In that sense, is that I find it hard sometimes to, let me see, to properly create something that is not simply, as I said before, not simply interesting, but also full of something that can be enjoyed by anybody. Because we were talking about this with one of my peeps, as we will say, and this question was brought up, let's say it like that. And it happens that a lot of times, almost, I would say like this, in any creative profession, you do not realize then I wouldn't say that you are good at something because it will be related to one of the biases that we have analyzed previously, but more like you can't truly believe that what you are doing is by itself good because you never tried to see it as something good. In other times, in other occasions, you will have seen it as worth it, but by the average, I wouldn't say simply consumer, I do not think it has something to deal with the consumer, but by the average mind, let's say like that, um, by the average mind, it ends up reflecting that what you do isn't really that bad. It is simply a problem born from the. I, I wouldn't also know if it is a misconception or not. In that sense, I can't really call it a misconception. It might come from the reality that you know what you're doing isn't the best, but if those who are consuming what you create do not realize that it is not the best, um, why would you be so preoccupied with making it be the best? And not in the sense of not putting your best when you create anything, but rather, let's say, one of the objectives should also be to make it enjoyable for everybody. And if you work yourself to that for the sake of, okay, is this worthy? Is this not worthy? Is this good? Is this not good? Is this enjoyable? Is this not enjoyable? Is this blah, blah, blah? All of those things play a bigger role on the realization of, okay, can this be seen by others or not? And after that, I can also, let's say, take into account what others say. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It is still something that I am trying to figure out. Why some people struggle so much with outsider influences. So yeah, let us properly pass. Before that, let me make a always a marker. Let us try to go into finally one of the real topics of the night. If we can avoid the search of a higher entity, or if we can, I wouldn't simply say avoid. I use it for the sake of going into one of the easiest terms, but rather I will believe that maybe something more proper is if we can overcome, because I think it it isn't a problem. It is rather something that might happen to everybody, and we might not realize that it is affecting us. So yeah, mm, we're going to explore that first and foremost. After marker was created, so now we can properly start. Sorry for taking so long. Here we are. Can we avoid the search of a higher entity? I will guess, or I don't know whether I say guess. So I will believe it is necessary to start with first and foremost a proper explanation about what we are talking about when we mention higher entity. Guys, I think that it happens that by in some cases it is useful to utilize broad terms for the sake of not really tainting what we are talking about. But in some others, I will believe the opposite is kind of true. That by utilizing such mm, non-specific words, we end up making it harder to understand. It ends up not really having any sense behind it. So yeah, here we are. Can we go to search of higher entity? Definition is um, I think the problem is also I don't know. I never understand why people get so shy to talk about things like this. I think it is necessary to mention and to analyze why it happens. Mm, if I were to try and guess, the sense of somebody who has seen so many people get shy and not even want to mention stuff like this, mm, it might be born from the cognition of seeing that it is hard to properly address. Mm, yeah, I will say like this, and not because it is by itself hard to address, as in we are incapable of addressing it ourselves, but rather so many things play such a big role um, that making it understandable for everybody end up also being a, an almost annoying thing. But mhm, by saying that, I also always feel like, but it is, I do not think that it isn't true that mm, okay, let me say it like this. I think it isn't true that we do not want to talk about stuff like this. Rather, it happens that we do not realize we are overthinking about one of the infinite amounts of problems that plague our lives. Let's say like that. Because I will understand if only God or if only religion or if only something like that will be the most hard thing to address. But in reality, so many concepts are so hard to address, and even if they are, we still decide to tag onto them as if we were capable of understanding them. That in this case, that is why it feels weird, let's say like that. Because in a case like this one, it doesn't really solve the question itself, but if you know that you don't know, why would you not want to keep knowing about it? I mean, well, it. I also feel like I have a response for that, but trying to explain it is incredibly hard, as it requires to explain so many problems with religion itself and such that yeah, I do not want to touch about to go over that and to talk about similar stuff to that at least for today. So yeah, let us simply move into the the concept itself. Um, we have on one side, as I try to put it there, mm, the definition itself of a god, a deity, or a higher being on a higher entity, meaning um, basically, I'm trying to fit almost every belief in something that is beyond ourselves, let's say like that, and beyond what we are as humans. And now I think it is kind of well explained, just in case I will still try to explain it more. But we can properly put together the whole sentence as if we can somehow not go into the search as to why do we need to have them on the first place, sorry. Why will we need to have them integrated in the first place, and why will we need to have them existing in our world? As I do not know if it is something. Yeah, I would say probably one of the reasons as to why I have seen so far that it's important to have them is something akin to the notion of when you have these type of concepts existing, you also start to cultivate notions that make your existence itself easier. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It is kind of harder to really address that. Sorry. Let me move into here. Can we avoid the search of a higher entity? Why? Let's say like this. Yeah, I do not know if it is also the proper word to put it into words. I have observed questions similar to this one. Um, and I do not really know how to properly also take it into consideration. I mean, I think it is not completely beneficial for us, but simply potentially good. Let's say like that. Um, so that is why I wanted to ponder on something like this. Um, so yeah, as I was trying to say, instead of staying silent, sorry, I think it happens that Sadly, these conditions and such mm, might be eliminated for the sake, as I am going to finish writing here. Give me a second because I have to grab what just fall on my room. Sorry for that. Okay, here it is. Sorry, sorry. Here, here. So I was trying to say it might give us the possibility of having more free time. And well, I mean, let's simply say more free time. What we utilize that free time on and such is not so relevant, as in reality it is another problem completely unrelated to this question, what we are going to do with that new existing, yeah, possibilities basically. um, let's say something more time for how to say it, for other things, something like that. Let's simply say, yeah, for other things. Mm, so yeah, now we can properly try to observe all of what is existing right now in the first map that we have created, that is, can we avoid the search of a higher entity? Why? In the sense of trying to understand what will be the real motivator behind such an action. And the response that I think has the biggest value or the biggest reason as to trying to search for it is because getting rid of it ends up leading us into having more time for the rest of our concerning matters pertaining to our own existence, let's say. So yeah, I will say, in one hand, mm, it seems possible that there is a benefit to it. I wouldn't try to completely attribute simply reasons as to why try to make it, but yeah, it is. Let me stop here for a second because I think it is a complex matter somehow, or well, not somehow. In reality, it is very easily observable why it is complex, as it adds as has so many layers that it means sometimes getting rid of it might as well change how we act as human beings and such. I do not really know. It doesn't stop being interesting, even if we have it existing, and it doesn't stop being incredibly useful to try and have it working on one side. On the other, it sadly also represents the almost hurtful reality of, you know what, when we have all of these things working all together for the sake of almost, I don't know if simply something different or not. Yeah, let's simply say that something different, what ends up being the point of it. But um, hmm, maybe you got in the other things, what? Uh, Hirocho, do you want to explain yourself a little bit more? As in, what? I mean, for example, I will try to guess that what you're trying to mean is we end up making gods out of more humane concepts. Like, for example, you end up adulating money, you end up adulating fame, you end up adulating those sort of things, and they end up becoming your gods. I will guess, yes, but the, I will say, no matter which kind of um, god we create, the main question is if we can get rid of them and if we can avoid having them existing. And I will mean, okay, seeing it from that perspective, in some cases, it also means that it might be hurtful to do so because we end up mm, observing that most, if not, yeah, I don't think every single one of the concepts that surrounds our existence needs to be directly almost plagued by a godly figure behind it, but rather so simply known that because we observe anything with so much importance, it is that at that point exactly it feels important, let's say, and it ends up taking the place of a god somehow. I mean, it doesn't stop being complex. It only gets more complex the more we analyze. Because in that same sense, for example, one of the few ideas that I remember is the different gods that habitate, that inhabit, or different realities are a combination of all their gods always, and even if they are not clearly in their let's say particular histories like that, the sad reality is that they always take inspiration from a bigger concept, and sadly I think we could try to explain it, but there is an underlying notion, and in that sense an unconscious perceivance of the, I think I have to, yeah, I think I have to explain it over here. We have what can be called, I don't think it is a problem, simply we have a timeline in which we exist as humans, and let's say the past 200, 200, 2000 years might as well exist over here, only this part is um, 2000 BC. Let's before Christ, no, after Christ. AC, after CE. I think it was after the Common Era, if not after Christ, but it is the fucking same thing. Anyways, so yeah, we have 2000 AC on one side, and all the other rest of the story is plagued by older concepts and such that might as well be almost impossible to trace back, and not a real problem, but simply a notion that has been thrown around is inside all of this that existed, there was developed a, let's say, let me finish writing this. If it isn't directly a common narrative, it can also be categorized as a concurrence. That is the other word. Um, concurrent narrative. The problem is this particular kind of narrative is what ends up making so many histories align with what we can say nowadays is simply the most famous types of stories. Because after so many years, not simply years, so many decades, no, how many, what is the measurement of 100 years? Um, yeah, after so many, so many years, let's say like that. Let's make emphasis on how much years, because I can't remember the other word. After so many time, after so much time, sorry, it happens that the main original narrative was lost somewhere, and now we end up reframing what is known, and we end up making all of um, this ends up taking place once again in an almost, I would say like this, the best concept, for example, that we have nowadays is Ouroboros. It is something that gets destroyed simply to be reborn as literally that same thing here in what is the common era that you are living in. And because of that, it might be interesting or it might be a motivating factor to try and search for the original of all of these stories, as it might represent the understanding or finally an endpoint for the search of something like a god. Let's say I don't think there is, and even less, I would have the possibility of saying, okay, we have this pathway clear, but I would believe that after so many years and so many of the different religions teaching the same thing, my God is better than yours. That is why it prevails through time. After so much time having this narrative being approved, we might as well try to make it not to force any particular religion, but to try and see what is the common narrative between all of those once again, and to try to make it all make sense for the sake of finding and finishing this unending question for which we always strive of, okay, is this entity real or not? Because even nowadays, when we could even argue that it is the easiest time to try and prove God, we still struggle to see it like that, and we still struggle to make it be a reality. And I mean, I will say, kind of, now that we are getting deep here, I will understand why it is kind of troublesome to try and talk about religion, because there are so many things that have to deal with this, and there are so many concepts that I will say like this. If we were to try and properly have all the different concepts laid out for this particular question, only this question, it will probably take us like 5 hours at minimum, at complete minimum. So, yeah, we might as well observe the possibility of leaving it here. Um, let's say like this, to not end on such a empty note. Let me make this final conclusion. Probably. What I believe has happened so far, and what could be repeated even more once again, is um, well, I mean, kind of funny enough, what is being created nowadays is almost a conservative stance where we do not want things to fight each other, and not a conservative in the sense of keeping, or well, yeah. Let's say like that, an status quo is conservative stance where we do not want anybody to really get an advantage over others, and because we do not want that to happen, we wish for no more confrontations. Um, when in reality, I would say like this almost. Sadly, it is necessary for concepts to clash, and yeah, we're going to talk about it later on. Mm, kind of coincidentally enough, that this kind of concept is predicated or not predicated, necessary for the sake of proper idea survival. When we try to make ideas clash against each other. So yeah, here we have it. And I will say, obviously, the final answer to this is, I mean, in a sense, kind of this whole sentence is what in reality has been happening since the human exists by itself, let's say. The problem is we started to develop, as I was trying to say before, we started to develop the tendency of blocking others from really approaching mm, different outsider beliefs. And by doing so, we negated the possibility of really exploring as much as it was necessary and analyzing the different flaws that the previous religions, previous beliefs, and all of that had. I will. I was going to say something stupid. Let me let me stay in silence. Then I wasn't going to. I was not going to. I prefer to not make such a bold statement, knowing that it might as well be incredibly harmful to do so. Um, but yeah, I mean, it doesn't stop being interesting. Let's say like that. It doesn't stop being interesting to see that we can observe this event still happening in our actual reality as of 2024. I guess in that sense, what could be sad and what we have already talked about is the realization that sometimes we end up blocking ourselves from continuing this almost eternal fight against different ideas and ideologies and such. That is why it is necessary to keep predicating, that it is necessary to, in an educated manner, confront one belief against other. So yeah, let me see. I think I can't really add that. What the fuck? Ah, sorry. I, I have finally learned what is it that I do, and it happens somehow that when you scroll over here, you also change the different canvases in which you are. I never knew that, so new information. Um, let me make the marker, and okay. With that, no more time going to be spent on this. It is incredibly interesting, yeah, but also I will say what I stated before once again. It requires so much preparation that it ends up being kind of necessary to avoid it for the sake of not being stuck with something so deep as this for 5 hours. I would love, for example, to, in that sense, not have to worry about prior, not knowledge, prior context, but sadly, forgetting that others also have an interest on hearing what we talk about, and sadly, we can't avoid to be aware about it. If I mean, for example, in that same sense, not only from the perspective of creating something, but from the perspective of being the one who, how to say it, not the one who consumes that, but the one who is doing it. Let's say like that. Um, from the side of the one who is doing it, it also sadly happens that you will realize at some point that you will have benefited a lot more from properly laying out all the things that are related to your idea instead of going crazy almost and never discussing what is it that you see and what is it that you have an interest. Mm, because I think I can say it, mm, by observing all the constitutory parts of anything, you can more properly observe it. If you only focus on the main question that you have without paying a proper attention to everything else, you end up negating yourself the possibility or the real chance of getting as deep as you could. Because in an almost negative way, sadly, it happens that we believe it isn't necessary to have all the parts existing at the same time, when in reality the whole context of a conversation needs to be predicated on the notion that, you know, this particular thing needs to be properly existing. If I negate almost neglection is to say that I do not need to talk about everything that addresses what I am analyzing. So yeah, I don't know. Um, why is my mouse dying, my man? Hello, mouse. Um, what the fuck, mouse? Can you work? Anyways, here we are. Um, hmm, why would we use fear as drive question? Sorry, I forgot to say it. I was analyzing it as, in this case, I think the proper context will be to say, I see it as the best way to stay motivated. Um, because we have kind of talked about it before. It happens that you can dream as much as you want, but for dreaming itself, you need to have a reference about what is good and what is bad. And if you don't have a fear, let's say like this, the proper answer to this is that is the best way to explain fear. When you have fear, you know what you need to be aware of, and you know what is a threat to you. If you do not have it, you cannot properly assess why would you need to see it as an existing factor. But the real problem is not if we need to maintain an already existing tool that was developed, going back to the other concepts of this one. Hello, Greta, there it is. But going back to this one, it doesn't mean that we need to believe that it is a conscious thing because we can do it actively. No, it happens that sadly, I don't think sadly, rather the opposite. Incredibly enough, after so much time, we developed this tool through our ancestors, let's say, because the act of knowing that something is or inflicts on you the feeling of fear is one of the biggest ways to realize if it is a threat or not and which kind of threat it is. So yeah, the what I wanted to say properly is if we can instead of having fear nowadays by understanding that we possess a consciousness, first and foremost, probably try to get rid of fear as the main way to obtain drive and to obtain a direction in life, but rather to try and change it into something more enjoyable for everybody, something like that. And I will try to say even no. Yeah, I was going to say trying to tie what we talked about before, and this one, the religion makes it be like that, but in reality, most of the religions end up rather forcing, let's say, people to fear at least the different gods. And when you fear your god, it isn't that you're really trembling when you hear the name, or even if it is said that you should be trembling when you hear the name. It means that you understand the different rules that are imposing onto you. And I mean, sadly, it also happens that even if you don't believe on something, because you know about the rules, you know and you're aware about the negative consequences. And to a certain degree, it isn't fear, but it is the proper understanding about the world that drives you to not do or to neglect rather the rules that surround you. How could we change that instead? And let's say, I mean, because another moment would be to try, instead of focusing on the rules, you could try to focus on a future that you want. But if you want something, it is because that you know that you don't want something else. You are still being driven by fear in that sense. I will say, yeah, probably fear in that sense is one of the primal emotions that we cannot make disappear in any way. It only changes form as if you're not having fear about the consequences of your action, you're having fear about the inconse- no, the consequences of your inactions, and if you're not having fear about that, you are having fear about the different possibilities that come with taking and not taking action. And if you're not having fear about it, you have fear because you know that someone is going to punish you by not doing it. And I mean, why somehow things got so incredibly complicated out of nowhere. Also, hello, Klondike. Welcome, welcome. Well, so far, I think analyzing the most complex stuff when in reality this was intended to be as always a warmer into into the more proper list. So yeah, I don't know. Um, I would say it like this probably. I will not try to simply finish, but the best statement is always sadly we can get rid of fear, my man. If we had the possibility of doing it, I guess we probably could have done so before. No. And also, welcome, Grace to Golden. Welcome, welcome. Um, yeah, I mean, I will guess trying to. It isn't that I do not feel like we cannot explain it, but what I said with this question, for example, if we can't get rid of different higher entities in the sense of gods and such, can we somehow not have to deal with a god, a deity, a higher being that ends up driving us towards somewhere or not? And the problem is to try and properly explain a question like this, there needs to be so much setup that we might as well need to, let's say, dedicate whole arcs of streaming almost to properly try and see a response to this. And that is why it feels incredibly hard. I, I, I guess simply it happens that we stumble upon the questions that end up being incredibly full of potential content, let's say like that. But I don't know. I I don't believe that a simple potato like me will have the possibility of somehow answering something that probably almost everybody at some point in their life has asked themselves. So yeah, the proper answer to this was what would we use fear as drive? And I mean, yeah. Something that also appeared in my mind is sadly, probably even love is born from the necessity of avoiding fear. Maybe because one of the main responses is always you can fight fear by doing what you love the most, but you cannot love if you don't have fear inside of you, let's say like that. And if you didn't worry yourself with any kind of any kind of emotion, be it love, be it fear, you wouldn't be human, and we wouldn't be contemplating stuff like this. Because in a sense, desire probably, but I mean, it once again goes back into the same concept. You cannot have desire without the proper, completely equal negative counterpart of undesire born from the negative side of it. Because you want to be in a better state, because you understand the consequences of your actions, let's say like that. You want to improve on something because you know that it will be bad for you to not make such actions. How can you act for the pure sake of something without taking into consideration the whole being? I mean, I think the response is if we are rational, we are binded by fear. The different shapes that it takes can only be noticed, but they cannot be avoided in any way. You are only going to find yourself surrounded by different kinds of fear, no matter which one is it that you choose at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean, uh, trying to change a little bit topic. I don't know how I stumbled into these questions when I was trying to find something less heavy to talk about. Mm, and I will also, just in case to, in the same case, or yeah, as the same as with this, do not have it so clean the whole canvas. If it means that by trying to, I mean, think about it like this. Even learning is motivated by fear. And I mean, not even every single thing is motivated by fear. If you had no fear, probably we will not be here in the sense of you wouldn't even ponder about the consequences of your actions to the degree to which you see your life as something valuable to live. Be I would say like this even because probably if you are here hearing this, no matter in which time is it, you know that you want to do something in any kind of way, and you hold inside of you the fear of not making it a reality, no matter if it is conscious or not. If it wasn't a reality, you wouldn't be hearing this because you would have already taken the decision of okay, I have no necessity of being here, or maybe kind of even the opposite. You see that your life is more damaging than beneficial to anybody. That is why you end up making it part of the excuse almost as to why you need no more to exist, let's say. But yeah, there is no way in which we can avoid it. And yeah, this is what I wanted to add. Mm, my PC is also lagging incredibly much. I am not. I have something open and I didn't check it. It's a consequence of sorry of consciousness. Uh, let me consciousness. Pium, pium. There it is. Depends on how broad we define fear. If you consider fear strictly a base desire of not wanting something to happen, you could just die from not eating or drinking or something. You just wouldn't care. I mean, rip. Wait, I mean, that. Yeah. Let me try to formulate a proper answer for what you say there. If we have another, in the meanwhile, on how broad we define fear. Uh-huh. If you consider fear strictly a base desire of not wanting something to happen, mhm, you will just die from not eating or drinking or something. You just wouldn't care. Uh-huh. I mean, probably, yeah. There is no, yeah, yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, can I really say anything to that? I mean, obviously, it, in that sense, yeah. Um, let me, yeah. I don't know if I can properly answer something like that. I mean, probably, or a good type of answer will be something like because you know that you have fear, and because you know that you have inside of you a notion that keeps you moving forward for the sake of not living a worse reality. Because of those things, it is that you can somehow notice those things. Yes, obviously, if you didn't have any care in the world, it would mean that almost you didn't fear the consequences of your actions. And even more, to a higher degree, the final stage is what you say. You will stop caring so much that there will no real reason for you to try and take care of you. And mm, yeah, one of the few things that I can really add there is in those most primal senses, almost every single human finds themselves driven back to pay attention to those primal needs because they are so primal that even your whole unconscious body feels bad if you're not satisfying them. And it isn't that it simply feels bad. It is because it also completely knows the different consequences of your inaction. And your whole unconscious mind is aware. And not simply your unconscious mind, your body, your whole machine. Let's consider the body machine in this. The whole machine that moves you and keeps you alive is aware of the fact that if you do not properly eat, drink, or sleep, you're going to die. And that is why there are some primal fears or some fears that are more primal than others that are completely unavoidable. But I don't know if it is something that you can really get rid of. In that sense, that is what I was trying to say. You can not care, but it doesn't mean that they really disappear. As in, I would say, what would be a good response? Something like, for example, if you didn't ever try to believe that what you're doing is worthy, you wouldn't even care for your actions. But it doesn't mean that your your existence should have a meaning, and your existence should be worthy of living. You can be responsible to the degree to which you say, yeah, you know, it has no meaning at all to be alive, but it should have one. And it is your responsibility to find the one. If you do not see it as a driving factor to know that you should find one, it is not a responsibility of others to make you notice that. It is only you who should see it. Let's say like that. But I mean, it is too much of a dread to realize also. I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, interesting. Interesting. Anyways, moving on. Uh, we still have one more. So let me before that make the timestamp. My man, what an incredibly dense topic. Ah, Yeah, I mean, they never stop being curious, but craziness. Let's keep it at that, my man. My God. Ah, let's just continue. Boom. Because yeah, this is too tiring to keep analyzing. Anyways, we have. I already know that this one is going to be as equally heavy. No, well, not really equally heavy. No. I think this one shouldn't be that heavy. It simply needs a lot of explanation, but it is easy to understand. Yeah, I don't know why I probably put that there. Let's say like that. It it falls more into the category of things that I could probably explain, not really ponder in the sense of why it keeps happening. I don't see it as a negative. So yeah, we have the tier than last question of the section. Let's say like that. The section of stuff pertaining to simple analysis and warming up. So yeah, ah, my man. Sometimes it feels like we lose a little bit of our sanity here. Sometimes, but I mean, why not do it? Why not enjoy being crazy? Huh? Geek, geek, geek. I wrote geek. No, keep. There it is. Why we keep going around things. I mean, kind of funny that I even wrote this and I didn't properly explain what it means in the sense of the question itself is clear. So yeah, I will need to explain it first and foremost. We are not talking about avoiding us going around them, trying to not touch them, but rather going back and back. Um, what was another definition? Circling, looping. I think it was. Let's say like this. Um, well, I mean, okay. Well, thinking about it, I think there is something possibly interesting to analyze there, I guess, but it also isn't that much of a deep idea, I think. Um, so yeah, anyways, there we have it. What the fuck? I can't even understand my own handwriting in this word. What happened here, brain? Are we are we fine? There it is. Crystal clear things. Completely real world now. For real now. Um yes. So I think the proper explanation for this question isn't that hard to see. It's why do we keep going back and back into the different questions that we have and the different mm, topics which might call to our attention. And I think there are two proper things to say. The first one is um, A. Let's call it A. The most common one, sadly, is well, not sadly. Why did I say sadly? What? I don't know why did I say sadly. Freudian sleep. Um, The most common one is because we notice that they are important, and because, yeah, even if we don't notice, at the very least, feel that they have a sense of something behind them. Let's say like that. We can't completely understand in some occasions. Knows it, knows it. We can't, in some cases, kind of rare cases, completely see why would it be important to keep analyzing such kind of topics in some cases, but the big majority of them, mm, we already have a notion, or at the very least, we have had it before and we decided to ignore it consciously. The notion of importance that carries the different topics that we try to talk about. And in this sense, is what I was talking about before. We cannot really explain that much. Mm, importance, no, wait, importance is, no, yeah. Mm, let me put it differently. Um, there it is. There we have the first part. Because we, everybody, notices that or feels that there is something important lying behind that particular idea. And I wouldn't say simply it is. Yeah, in this case, it's completely avoidable. You can ignore your sensations to that degree. You really can not pay attention to your feelings. Even more deep. And I think that is where it is sadly a rarity. That the average person decides to consciously ignore what they notice or what they thought was important, as it also implies that in some cases you have to shake things up and you have to take the responsibility from this, yeah, making things change, when in reality you might as well wish for them to remain the same, not for the sake of not changing, but for the sake of keeping as many things as you can as equal as they were before, for the sake of feeling like there is an order and feeling like there is a control in your life. But yeah, aside from that, the other kind of big problem, or well, I mean this one, I see it as a problem because we are bored, sadly, and yeah, I don't know if there is a proper explanation as to why being bored is negative, aside from you have potential of changing your focus and observing something more interesting than simply what you go to because you are bored. I will say it's, yeah, this one in particular probably can be responded by, mm, yeah, this one is more solvable than simply feeling like it is necessary, let's say, to to investigate what is important in your life, and even almost because also obviously exploring what is important is by itself important. you, you know and you realize that there is something of importance there, therefore you go and explore it. But on one hand you have that notion, and on the other, if you never were taught that being bored is negative, mm, let's say like this, probably trying to tie it with the proper or proper no last concept that we were talking about. We lack. Okay, I can't understand that. If I think this word has been reappearing more and more. But yes, we lack the fear of stagnation. Because sadly, if you are feared, eh? Oh no 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 no. I mean, you can't. Did I say it somehow? Obviously, you can't learn to be bored or not. That I mean, it's a feeling like love or something like that. You can make more sense out of those feelings, but you cannot learn it. Yeah, I mean, yes. Did I imply it somehow? I am not paying attention. But yes, no problem. I mean, if I somehow made it feel like that, you might as well explain yourself for the sake of clarifying that problem. No real negative part on explaining it properly. Because yes, let me say it like this, or let me try to explain it like this. Boredom is a feeling that we have, and boredom itself is something that should be avoided at all costs. And if by doing so you end up going back to what you already explored and what you already know, you only, let's say, live in the boundaries of what you already know. You are not really becoming more and having the possibility of getting even better things. Let's say like this. And it happens for this particular reason. And that is we lack the fear of stagnation and we lack the proper, in that sense, as I was trying to say, connecting this with the prior knowledge of what was it? This one. Yeah. We lack the proper fear and in that sense the drive of the fear of stagnating to the degree to which it ends up being unavoidable that our way is the incorrect one because it is so outdated with the model of the world in which we live that it makes no sense at all. So yeah, that is the proper explanation I will try to give for that. Let's say, but well, there was also another possible cause, and I think this is kind of rare to see because I don't know how much of a difference there is behind noticing that it is important or not. And I was going to say, we feel, wait. Haha, somebody hearing music. There it is. I mean, in that sense, we feel like there should be something else, and we feel like we have missed also something probably in some cases. I wouldn't say, or I wouldn't have the capacity of really attributing this to A and C, let's say like that, A and C as different things. But I will guess they are different because if you have the notion that something is important without really knowing why it is important, it shouldn't be the same as knowing that you miss a part of the lesson or that you can know you can extract more from what you already have seen before. Let's say like that. But yeah, I mean that is kind of the problem here. There is not really that much to ask from this question or to get from this question. Aside from the response that is born from B, and I will guess mm, how to properly create it, mm, how to create this fire, let's say. But obviously, I guess the best way to do so is with examples. Examples? No, examples. There it is. The different examples of people that ignored their realities and didn't pay the proper attention to these kind of problems is the way in which we can deal with these already existing problems. So yeah, that is kind of the sad thing of this. There is not really that much to extract from this particular question. I guess I should try to explore more stuff, something like that. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. At the very least, we had two incredibly deep questions out of nowhere. So we are fine with this. We are still fine. There it is. We finish with this part. We finish with this first half of the stream, let's say, and that is to explore concepts in a playful manner. Not so playful because they are incredibly deep sometimes, but playful manner. So yeah. Now, um, what is going to happen is I am going to make the marker. That is what is going to happen. I am going to make the marker. First and foremost, I want to make it. So, marker loops, fruity loops. There it is. There we have the last marker. The most recent marker. So now, yeah, let's do this. Let me get into here, transition into here, and once again, after an hour and a half, even if I wanted to go that long, if I didn't want to go that long, we already are at the half hour mark, hour and a half mark, sorry. So yeah, I might as well try to go for a lake or something like that to have my mind a little bit more recuperated for the sake of doing properly my show at explaining the other stuff. So yeah, hey people, we're going to take a probably like 5 minute break or something like that, I guess. And I wouldn't once again I will not set a timer, but in this case we're going to measure. It is 58. 1 a.m. No, what? 1:58. So at 2:05 we're going to get back here. Basically in 7 minutes or so. So yes, break, ad break, mental break, relaxing break, something like that. Thanks for being here. Remember to stay safe. And yeah, well, basically that. Now we'll take a short break for the sake of getting ready for the next half of the stream. Thanks for all. Haha, I sorry if I didn't explain myself properly, and also if it felt like I was somehow um, berating at you like sorry. So yeah, break. So I didn't say that I was going to stretch. Give me a second because I have to stretch. I noticed just now that I have my legs completely numb. Give me a second. My man, was a crazy stuff that was. I mean, I love it when I try to make a simple question and I end up being faced by completely random and almost diabolical realizations of for humanity being doomed to live in constant fear of everything. I don't know. Man. Okay, here we are. Well, very fine. Then it is getting incredibly hot here. My fucking god. Air conditioner doesn't want to work. Man. Oh, no, it doesn't want to work. Anyways, I guess I will die then. So we're back, basically. No, we finish our tiny trip, the break. We finish our short break to take yeah a moment to liberate the mind and to not be so worried about anything because we still have a second half to go for and a second part of the stream to try and keep explaining stuff more properly. So I also didn't set up that. I simply disconnected my brain for some seconds. Sorry for that. Let me also get it done. Let me also get it done. My man, incredible. I had so many things to do and I did zero of them that I I still don't even know what I did before. The first time that I decided to take a break. How much did I live? Half an hour. How much did I really live for last time? I don't know. Anyways, um, okay, there we are. Ready. Ah, now going back into here. Krita. Ah, Krita is crashing. That is what's happening. Okay, Krita. Once again, Krita, Krita, Krita. Hello, 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 Krita. Krita. Krita, my bro, do not crash. Anyways, I do not care that much. Not really, so yeah. Mm, let me see. Also, wait. I noticed this, and it made me kind of angry because it is my responsibility really to check. And I guess on phone it didn't appear, but we finished the barnhole, the first barnhole of the year. So we're doing kind of good in that sense, you know. We're doing kind of very good. Finally, it happened. I knew, or well, it isn't that I knew. I I was going to be amazed. Let's say like that. I was going to be amazed if it didn't get filled once again. The first one was very easily achieved. The second one failed. I I have to accept that it was partially because of my inconsistency streaming, and this third one is finally finished. We went back to the starting points, 20,000 points or something like that. So it's not that it shouldn't have been that hard, but rather it was a thing to complete. Let's say it like that. It was a thing to finally complete, and now we we can we're going to advance probably into the second stage. I I will also probably give some time before making the next one because I remember between the first and the second there was one single stream of delay. So probably after yeah, we still have to find what we are going to do for the 200 stream celebration. I don't know. I will try to probably arrange something. I will have to. Hmm? Yeah. I mean, one of the few things that is kind of good is you can farm points incredibly easy by having a good streak. But I have to accept that on one hand my inconsistency at the streaming, and on the other the incredibly hard to catch distribution of my streams makes it truly hard to maintain any streak so far. I so yeah, no real worries. No real worries about that. We are trying our best, as they will say, and we fail, we fail, but not because we didn't try. So yeah. Anyways, where did we have to continue? It was all what? Also, Dempa Fish gave me a shout. She's fucking streaming. No man, this is so sad. Um, man. Anyways, we have to continue here. Uh, you stream nearly 3 times every single day. I mean, I try to stream, and also, um, well, first and foremost, thank you for saying that. We try to make it work. We try to make it work. We also have kind of a hard time because, sadly, there are so many preconditions also existing that it gets kind of hard to make it properly function. Let's say like that. But seeing that it somehow works is very amazing. So yeah. I guess it is everything. I mean, yeah, everything is going better than what I have ever expected, and I guess I can. I do not know. I feel bad to talk about it in a sense, but on the other, is really one of the few things that is constantly burning inside of me. The notion of sometimes not compared to what I feel I am doing or what I feel I should deserve that I am doing good, but compared to other people, I think it is weird to see that we are doing so great here in particular. Not that I do not think we shouldn't be doing so great, but that other people should also be doing as great as me or even better. And that is where it gets weird because I don't know, man. I can't make sense out of why, if this functions, everything else shouldn't function as equal or as better as this. But I don't know. I don't know. We are happy. That is what matters. And we are also having the possibility of doing something. Yeah, fucking misspelling. At this point I am probably going to make a new redeemer that is minor misspell error or something like that. The meme and have that play the sound because that is the only thing that is happening consistently here. But yeah, as I wanted to say, at the very least, here we have the possibility of enjoying something, and I also had the chance myself of quote unquote channeling all that interest on making something work instead of letting it consume me alive almost. So yeah, we are doing pretty fine, we are doing pretty fine. Idea. What the fuck is that? There it is. Idea. Having clear definition. There it is. Okay. We only have a clear definition on the idea itself of having clear definitions. But as always, we also have to kindly. I forgot to make the timestamp of us leaving the break. Fuck it, I won't make it. Yeah, I will not make it this time. We are already too deep on analyzing something different. So yeah, good luck, people that watches the world. Sorry for forgetting about you, but sometimes it happens. Sorry, sorry. That is what I can really say. Sorry. Um, ah, as always, as I was trying to say before, noticing that I forgot to make the timestamp is why are we talking about this and why will it be in any way important to have notions or better notions about the whole world? And yeah, this is one of the very few cases in which both the question and the idea itself are related to the response. But I will say, yeah, I will say it becomes easy enough to accept it once you see it. If you have never thought about it, it might be hard to somehow make sense as to why would it make mm, things easier, but it happens like that, let's say. The simple concept is by having clear definitions, by having clearer and more boundaries, no, what is the word? More solid definitions, you can have an easier time on life. That is something that we always talk about here is it is impossible to have an easy time on life, but it is possible to have an easier time because life will never be easy, but you can make it less of a painful thing, let's say, and less of a hard thing by integrating different tools in this particular concept. The proper idea mm, of integrating and having the, yeah, as many concepts as you can properly integrated into your mind is what allows you. I think that is well. Let me keep that to myself for a second because that is the next part as to why it happens. And let me try to finish this meanwhile. Also, I am going back to what I was thinking before. I wanted to speed up the amount of concepts that we go over every single time. Sadly, it happens that we are spending more and more time on everything else. I don't know, kind of crazy. Mm, There it is. As I promised, there is also a continuation, not only to this, that because you know the world better, you have an easier time. Because it is, I will say like this, the idea itself of understanding that it is important to explore and to consume content for the sake of understanding the world is there. But the real reason as to why would it be important is what sometimes gets missed. And that is what I was going to write next. That when you can integrate and you can even more make sense out of everything that you see to a higher degree, let's say, you can completely, or well, not simply completely, you can properly have the whole scenery of your imagination of the different realities that you interact with and the community in which you live. All of those things play almost a symphony of more sense because by having that is that you can work better, let's say like that. You can understand more and you can see more properly how to take action in the world and how it is that you can take action because I will say like this, sadly it happens that when we do not understand how to do something we know that we can't do anything about it. But the moment in which it becomes apparent to us how to move a certain way, how to realize a certain type of action, how to deal with a certain type of situation, we easily lose the capacity of relating back to in which state we were before. I would say probably a good way to call it is to have what is it? Empathy. By having empathy with our own past, by having empathy with those who are not here in the sense of not here, not understanding this kind of concept, it is also that we could, for example, even have the possibility of trying to teach them something like this. By having all of those things working properly, you can show others these different ideas to anybody. So yeah, it is interesting, but the fierce and hardest part is to really integrate it into anywhere. Is it too at I think it was at no? Let me let me fix that just in case. Um, that is supposed to be an out. Sorry, and also my PC is lagging out of nowhere, bro. There it is. Now for real, the whole sentence is finished. You simply have at your disposal more tools. That is the shortest way to put it. The shortest way to put it. And I mean, it doesn't get more complicated than that. You can try to ponder as to why it is important to have more clear definitions, why it is negative to not have them. In the case of you wanting to understand, why would you not want to have those less clear definitions and all of that? But the explanation is really simple. Is by having them, you have an easier time. The easier, the easier time exists because you can deal with more situations more properly, and even more with the situations with which you were faced before. You can also deal more easily as you are more aware as to how you utilize the different things at your disposal. So yeah, incredibly easy. Now, sadly, I will have to take another break because, and it isn't that I didn't go to quote unquote idol meeting, but I will have to go for a second one. I guess I am drinking too much water. So yeah, give me a second. sorry, sorry. Here, here. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. worry not, as I have written. So yeah, I needed it. I don't know. I think probably I am drinking sorry too much water or something like that. That is why it happened like that. But yeah, we're back now. After this second break, we can we can properly get back into this. Let me transition. Yeah, did I activate just in case? Yeah, no, yeah, okay. I don't know. Sometimes I think I somehow forget to activate the microphone. At the very least, I learned to remember that whenever I start stream, I check my audio, so I don't have to worry about it. But on other cases, like this one, I literally do the action and I forget if I did it or not. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm going crazy when that happens, and when I see that I did what I had to do, and I still forget about it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Um, sanity, sanity is being lost here. Um, well, okay, there it is. New marker. Now we can advance. My bro. PC, can you not lag PC? Okay, there it is. Concept. Colon. Semicolon. Anyways, yeah, I mean, it sadly happens that I guess I learned about it some time ago. It had to deal with part of you do something, and because you're not even paying attention to what you're doing, you really forget that you did it. That is why if you're not consciously acting on the reality in which you live, you end up losing, let's say, part of the memories that should be retained in you. I I try to be conscious about the things that I do even more because as somebody who is streaming, you should try to be aware about what you're doing for the sake of it being good. But I don't know, my man. It still is hard. I wish it was easier, but it is still is incredibly hard sometimes. Not to pay attention, but rather to keep constantly paying attention. So yeah, here we are. Second concept, those we love. We are now speaking about. I will say there is a particular problem here, and that is in this case we really need to explain what the hell are we talking about when we say love, because sadly almost everybody has their definition of love. So yeah, let's explain first and foremost what we are observing as love here. Mm, let me make an arrow just in case. I don't know if yeah, there are some problems with this, I know, but I prefer to have those problems. So yeah, we will see. Mm, we will see still. It is, I think, a good concept to have in mind at the very least, because in this case, we're more than anything else talking about the certain responsibility that exists inside of us when we deal with anything related to the rest of the world, because we're talking about those we love, not simply to or about ourselves, but really about those others that we love. So yeah, the emotion born from I think, yeah, it was longer than what I expected. From the interest on the well-being. Hello? And I guess I will put of something on the we. On the we, what? Where did that we come? On the interest on the what? What did I fucking write? What is going on? Did I completely once again turn on my brain? My man, what is going on? Can we properly work? I think it was like this well-being of something. There we have it. Something. Quality content. The emotion born from the interest of the well-being. It was on, no? On the well-being. Uh, Beep, 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 beep. Beep, beep. Anyways, yeah, I might as well be a little bit sleepy. I have to accept my responsibility here. But yes, on the well being of something, of someone, of anything. It doesn't really matter what is it. Because incredibly, we can develop love for almost every single thing that exists. So yeah, kind of weird to see that. But anyways, what are we talking about here? Hmm, let's say the first important question is always to ask, or in this case, more properly, what is the point? Because sadly, going back first and foremost into the definition that we are utilizing, we are not simply talking about, okay, we have love about something, how beautiful it is to have love, and how nice it feels to have love. I will almost say, in this case, love might as well represent the most completely unnecessary, willingly taking responsibility of not only having an interest but almost caring for the well being of something. So, yeah, the point is what means to love. And I would say yes, incredibly, in this case, we are talking, as always, we are talking about others. And also, beautifully enough, love, first and foremost, needs to be done properly inside of us. It is almost impossible to understand what love is if we do not predicate it, not only on others, but also on us. So, yeah, first and foremost, just in case, it is kind of hard to understand what are we talking about. Um, Here, if you don't have the capacity of loving yourself, let's say, to love and PC, can you stop lagging, my man? Well, it seems Pisikun is designed to die. Responsability. Well, no, yes. There it is. Responsibilities. Amazing quality content. There we have it. What it means to love and what are the different responsibilities that also come with loving. Because, incredibly enough, I think we forget sometimes to talk about what it means to be in love with anything. Because sadly enough, we believe that it's completely good to be absorbed in any kind of love that exists inside of us, when in reality, let's try to go for this kind of idea. The most important part is always to predicate the well being of that thing which we love. And if we cannot properly predicate it, or if we cannot properly advocate ourselves to that, it means that there are some things wrong with it. Because the rest of emotions also play an incredibly huge role on our feelings towards love and our different acceptances of whatever it is that we assimilate as love. So, yes, that is why in this case we're trying to almost clarify what it means to have and to need or to be in love. So, yes, the first part, as I said before, is to know that almost we care. That is the first part. The most easy part to explain is that we care. We start to develop a sense of caring about something. We start to see it almost as, I wouldn't say the most important thing, because in reality, you can love so many things that you understand their proper importance in the whole array of existence. You can simply care. When you can start to care about the different things, you can start to see why is it that you need or you want them to survive, let's say. That is the first part. And sadly, with this, it also comes the responsibility side of this. So now, let me make this particular thing over here. Hello. Because we care, we also have a responsibility. Yeah, I knew that at some point it was going to happen. I was going to completely right wrong something. It isn't to show, it is to exert careness with that thing. It isn't never to show. The point, one of the main points of loving is literally to not be preoccupied about what everything else thinks and what not. We simply exert, or in this case, or care, and we exert. I think a part of this is to understand that when you start to care, you also start to predicate for it to survive as much as you can. And because of that, you also have the responsibility of properly learning how to take care of it and what it means to be in love with something to the degree to which you need to end up taking actions in a manner in which that thing doesn't get altered in any negative way. So yeah, the proper first part is to enact careness, to realize caring, to be somebody who is caring for the thing that you love. That is the first part. And the second part is a lot of times it gets predicated as simply another side of this care, but sadly, it's I will try to differentiate it for the sake of not making an unnecessary confusion about this. There we have it. To want it to be good, to desire for that thing to be. Mm, it has different sides. Obviously, you want it to be okay, but you also want it, if it is possible, to be even better than what it is right now. Because in some cases, or when it is a possibility, you know that that thing that you're loving, that person that you're loving, has the potential of being even more than what it is right now, than what even by itself is capable of realizing. So that is also the other side of this. The thing that needs to be differentiated from simply caring. Because in some cases it gets grouped together as because you care, you let it be. And in some cases the responsibility is you do not let that thing that you love simply be and exist without any interference from you whatsoever. But rather, and that is the most hard part of this whole concept, I will say, it is as easy as that. You help it to be good. You allow it to reach its maximum potential, or at the very least, you play an active role on its becoming better. You do not hinder, you do not, because you want it to be better, you do not push, you do not force, but you know that it needs an assistance, or at the very least, that if it is possible for you to do it, then why would you not aid on their existence or their betterment on whatever? That is the hard part of the responsibility, that is to help it to be good. But so far, the good part of this is, and I will simply write it down for the sake of also having it existing somewhere, let's say like this. There it is. And well, there is another thing that I think I was going to miss almost, and that is sadly, or well, I don't mean sadly as in something negative, but rather because most of the times acceptance, no, There it is. Here it is. All of these things are what compose loving, and almost the final part is the acceptance, and sadly letting whatever we love be, not in every single one of the aspects, because we also know and we have to accept that we have a responsibility towards making it be good, but the acceptance mostly of the end and the finite existence of that thing that we love. The understanding that everything that we see as precious might as well reach an end. Everything that we want to save for ourselves sometimes needs to be free. Everything that we at some point hold dear might not want to be close to us anymore, might not want to be in the place in which it has been remaining anymore. And letting it be is what is so incredibly hard. But I mean, every single one of these parts is hard by itself because you can believe that you're letting it be when in reality you are not properly taking care of it. You can believe that you're helping when you are limiting how much it is. It is a constant play and a constant thing that needs to be at harmony for you to really say that you are properly loving it. Because we tend to talk about it like this. It is almost impossible to say that there are completely clear ways for everything. But sadly, love is not so hard to define. There is a good way to do it. There are errors that we can commit, but is a good and a positive way to love anything. So yeah, that is the whole explanation. Incredibly, as I said, it isn't that complex. So yes, we can move into this. What? For a second, I almost skipped a heartbeat. I thought that I spent like an hour talking about something. Oh my god! I almost died there, my man. Twitch, please do not scare me like that once again, please. So yeah, that is the second topic. We still have two more to go. We have now the point behind having discussions. Something completely unrelated. And I remember I don't remember which one was it, but I remember talking about it. Mm, okay. Mm, okay. Uh, so also to keep adding some noise and to not be so silent. I noticed that somehow um, I started to go almost in this case unintentionally, but the first time really intentionally go for 3 hour long streams, and it is kind of crazy to see the progress behind all of that stuff. I never really, not that, yeah, I never really believed that I was going to be able to do it. So seeing that we can withstand the darkness of being here, and we can survive, and we can even more do it properly, well, try to do it properly, is what makes it beautiful. even more completely enjoyable. So yeah, very nice to see that we are once again almost going to reach probably 3 hours or so. There it is. There we have the idea itself, the points behind current discussions. I will say it like this. There is something always interesting about discussing different ideas. The only problem is understanding why it is almost necessary for us to discuss as much as we can. And in this case, I don't know if we can really ask why, because, or if it is necessary, let's say like this. Well, we can do it like this. And from here, we're going to explain everything else. Why? The first reason as to why it is necessary to try and have discussions, to try and have. I think, yeah, I might as well want to explain this definition just in case, so that we are on the same ground. Just in case, you know? Just in case. A talk, will it be definition? A talk, a conversation, a debate, that is the proper definition. There we have it. A debate between two ideas. It isn't that really complicated. So yeah, sorry for not explaining it just in case, as it sometimes is necessary for me to get those words clarified. So yeah, a discussion is a debate between two ideas. And now, properly, trying to explain why it is necessary. The first reason being to reach an agreement. As simple as that. To get to a middle point, a middle standing point in which both parties are comfortable with a decision and kind of predicated and interrelated is to be at ease, as I'm going to write here, because in the sense in which you reach an agreement, if you do not strive for making things work, in this case, a relationship in which both parties have ideas that almost conflict, if you do not search for that, you are not going to be at ease with one another. So sadly, even if we wanted to make ourselves believe that it wasn't necessary for us to reach an agreement to keep to be still great, I will okay. I guess I will need to explain this one in particular a little bit more. Because sadly it happens that not doing so ends up driving us into the accumulation of things that should have been debated and were not properly talked about. Therefore, it ends up almost creating a sentiment of bitterness and resentfulness that ends up harboring hate, hatred, sadness, angriness, and yeah, overall, what I am going to write here, not doing what I am sorry. So yes, not doing so is damaging. As simple as that. Okay, and there is the final most important reason sometimes, aside everything else, to find the truths. Because sadly, or well, I don't know in reality if it is sad or not. It simply exists that we believe we're always saying what is correct. And when we oppose what others say, we have to accept that we might be wrong and our words might not be true. And by having a discussion, we might come into the realization of which reality is the truth or the most real one. So, yes, all of these things are why it ends up being necessary to have discussions. So, yeah, I will say, well, probably in another kind of reason that gets derivated from all of this. Um, yeah, I will need to derive it from these three ones. Um, where do I do it? I think over here, no? Something like, mouse. What the fuck was that? Mouse. My brother, what the fuck is happening with the mouse? Don't tell me that it is breaking or something like that. Uh, no, that was my hand. Sorry. Here, here, and here. Mouse. There we have it. All of this is what ensures a prolonged existence and is what allows us to keep on living. There it is, to prevail. So now with this, we can properly give a closure to this last topic because, okay, I didn't notice that it was so incredibly late and I have some responsibilities tomorrow. In this case, I guess I failed to properly do what I had to do. So yeah, let me remove this from here as this one we're not going to talk about today. I guess the quickest rundown that I can give on that proper idea is something along the lines of you can keep doing the things that you have fear to do because going back to what we learned about earlier and what we were trying to discuss about earlier, you even if you have fear about doing something, you should try to strive to create inside of you an even bigger notion and an even bigger fear about the consequences of your inaction. And even if on one side you tremble because something is or seems like such a problematic thing to try and engage in, the reality of that particular thing not happening and you not properly taking action is more important than those feelings of dreadness, those feelings of sadness, those particular feelings that you have inside of you that end up making you believe that basically. So yes, it ends up being an important thing to develop the understanding, the desire, and even more the wish to do things, even if we somehow do not properly feel like we are completely capable of doing them. Because not doing so is more damaging than doing so. So yes, that is all I can say for today. I sorry for rushing the last topic. I didn't mean to ignore my own life schedule to end up having to rush the last one. So yeah, once again, sorry for that. But we're going to get it today here. Nah, man, it might have been more. No, but well, I might have ruined it with my inconsistency. This is so bad. But well, um, yeah, I think I can even say that we can add, yeah, the last marker will be third and fourth topic. Yes. So yeah, there we have it. Something incredibly simple that happened. We have the possibility of analyzing all of this, and we truly enjoyed. So yeah, as always, thanks for being here. It is kind of implied that we are reaching an end point and that we no more are going to be studying anything else for today. So as always, thanks for being, thanks for watching, thanks for lurking, thanks for paying attention, thanks for getting entertained, thanks for every single part. Thanks as always also, dear bot watchers, for um, surviving this experience once again. And yeah, everybody, please remember that this is an amazing thing that happens because you allow it to happen and because you keep making it possible. So, thank you. Thank you once again. Thank you as always. And remember that I might as well struggle sometimes to properly express my appreciation for these things, but know that it truly is a beautiful thing to see, to do, and to keep also performing. So yes, now we're going to get ourselves out of here. We're going to rest somebody. As always, thanks for sticking by, and we're going to be leaving. Where into Formix, who is reacting to content. So yeah, we're going to get entertained by some beautiful entertainment. So yes, that's everything that we can say. As always, people, thanks for all. Remember to stay safe. Remember that this is a beautiful thing to presence it. And well, let's see, can we utilize slash raid bot? Are you alive? Did we lose you? What is amazing? We have bots. This is such quality content. The bots finally working. My man, we how much we lose when we do not have the bots, and how much of a blessing it is, and we do not even notice, my man. But well, as I was trying to say, thanks everybody. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay rested. Remember that we're going to leave, and whenever it happens once again, we're going to get back to here. But until then, do not feel anxious, as this needed to end. So yes, thanks for everything. Stay safe and goodbye until the next time. Now, right, who for makes who is just chatting. So yeah, goodbye everybody. Thanks. Goodbye. Right.